looking at the biggest political story since the 2008 presidential election of Barack Obama. Republican Scott Brown's poll numbers up in Massachusetts are heading upward. His money is pouring in. The president's going after to try to save it for the Democrat Martha Coakley on Sunday, but he's also facing the loss of that 60th Democratic seat. They need to pass health care. Why is he going? Has he got nothing to lose at this point? Let's bring in a man who ought to know, Democratic strategist Steve McMahon. It looks to me like a presidential visit's not the key here. The key is to put together a money-wise ground game that gets people out to vote who you know are going to vote Democrat at this point.
Yeah. Well, it may or may not be. I mean, I guess we'll know on Tuesday. But what I think the Obama folks are trying to do is gin up the base. You can look at the polling numbers and you can see that on the Republican side there's great intensity and they're going to show up to vote. And on the Democratic side there's less intensity.
And the independents are going to vote Republican.
The independents looks like they're going to break Republicans. So there's a very, very significant need here to turn up the energy level among the Democratic base, because Democrats still outnumber Republicans 3-1 in Massachusetts. And if they show up, if you can get turnout up enough, then this is going to be a race that Martha Coakley wins probably relatively comfortably. If they don't show up, and if independents break for the Republicans, as they did in New Jersey and Virginia earlier this year, then Martha Coakley could have a very long night. They know that.
Do you think there are still Democrats who were born Democrats, ethnically Democrats, the ethnic groups, black or Irish, Italian, whatever, Polish, Jewish, who naturally vote Democrat and still do automatically, and if you just get in the polls to vote the right way, or is that a vanishing breed of American politics, even in Massachusetts?
Well, I'm one of those people, and I presume that there are others. I don't.
Is there a plurality even in the Bay State of people like that?
I think there is, but you know, the interest level in this race has never been particularly high. I don't think Martha Coakley has run a particularly inspiring campaign, and I'm not sure that she's quite as popular as the person she's trying to replace. So she's got that sort of going against her. The fact is, President Obama in Massachusetts still has a 60% favorability rating, and if he can go up there, and if he can gin up the enthusiasm among the Democrats who might otherwise stay home. And there may be Democrats who aren't quite sure when the election is being held because it comes the day after Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, the time.
Well, you know how they're polling, don't you know? The first question they ask is, do you know when the election is? And then they ask you how you're going to vote. That's
right.
a way of finding out whether you're going to vote or not, knowing when it's going to happen.
That's right. And that's how they're trying. And one of the other difficulties here is trying to figure out a model for this turnout, because you don't know if it's going to be a 19% turnout like you saw in Virginia the other night.
Yeah, but their model's assuming about a 15% Republican vote. That's not exactly a big turnout for Republicans. Well, they still expect to have a problem.
But modeling is difficult because the enthusiasm's on the other side.
Okay, let's imagine two people. You're President of the United States right now. You're Rahm Emanuel's Chief of Staff, and you're looking at this, a 50-50 chance at best right now of holding that seat. A, you run. You go up there anyway, right?
Absolutely.
You got nothing to lose.
You have to go. You have nothing to lose.
Even though you will be blamed visually for the guy who lost the race.
Well, here's the thing. This is Barack Obama's 60th seat, and he knows he needs it for policy reasons, and I think for political reasons the White House understands that he needs to go there and campaign for her. If she comes up short, then obviously it's going to reflect on the president's agenda. It's going to have an impact there, and it's probably going to have an impact politically. But if he doesn't go and she comes up short, it's going to have a bigger impact.
Okay, what's the difference between now and next November? Isn't she the canary in the mine? Isn't what she's facing in Massachusetts right now, assuming the unemployment rate stays about 10, economic conditions stay about the way they are, nobody assumes they'll change. Why isn't this a demonstration project of what's going to happen nationally? Lose Pennsylvania, the Senate race. Lose all the Senate race, like in Illinois, lose the Senate race there. Lose Evan Bayh's seat. Lose Feingold's seat. Certainly lose down in Arkansas with Blanche Lincoln. Looks to me, if the Democrats lose Massachusetts, under these conditions, which are the same as they're going to be in November, they're going to get swept out of power completely.
Well, there are some things that are going to be different. If turnout in Massachusetts were...
They're going to lose the Senate.
But if turnout in Massachusetts on Tuesday is what it is in a normal election year, she would win, I think, relatively comfortably. David Axelrod himself has said that if the economic circumstance in this country doesn't improve pretty significantly, Democrats are going to have a really long night. Yeah. I think everybody understands that. If health care reform isn't explained and understood better by next November than it is today, Democrats could have a long night. But hopefully, a lot of these things that the Obama administration has put in place will take hold, the economy will improve, and health care reform needs to be understood by next November, or it's going to be a long night.
A long night, you keep saying, but the question is, will there be a morning after for the Democrats? My question, do they have anything left to pick up? We'll see. Steve McMahon, who knows his stuff and has given us a somewhat despondent view of the way things are headed.